Our guest today is the clerk of the city of Chicago. He is the second highest ranking official in city government, and his office is the most visited office in City Hall. The city clerk's office is responsible for maintaining the official records of the city of Chicago and issuing all kinds of city licenses and vehicle stickers. Ladies and gentlemen, the clerk of the city of Chicago, Miguel del Valle. Senator, have some fun up here.
Thank you, Jay. It's great to be here. It's my first appearance.
Make it an annual event.
And so Jay said to me, have some fun up here. And it's tough to do that because I'm going to be speaking to you about very mundane kinds of things. And I'm probably going to share with you a lot more detail than you would care for. But it has to be done. It has to be done because we are on a mission. And I say we because there are a number of us involved in this effort. On a mission to change the image of the city clerk's office. And it is an office that is an elected office. Some people might argue that the office is not necessary and that certainly it shouldn't be an elected office. I know when I was in Springfield, I voted for legislation to combine the comptroller and the treasurer's office. I felt, and Judy Bar Topinka, wonderful state senator at the time and still a wonderful lady, supported that. She supported combining those two offices. And so one could argue that the city clerk's office may not be all that necessary and that its functions could be handled by other city departments. But it is an office established by statute. I don't anticipate that there'll be legislation to eliminate the office because there are only 3 citywide elected offices in the city of Chicago, and locally our elected officials like to protect their offices. You know that, right? We protect our 50 aldermanic spots, and we also protect, of course, the three citywide offices. And because it's a citywide office, and it's one of 3 citywide offices, then if it's going to exist, it should function properly. It should function well, and taxpayers should have confidence in the operation. And as Jay indicated, it is the most visited office in the city of Chicago. You know, we go through our season for selling city stickers, and we just went through another season, and I was working the crowds, working the lines. That's the kind of guy I am. I like to be hands-on. I say to the troops, if I want you to be out there, I have to be out there with you. I have to be on the front line. I can't ask from you any more than I would expect of myself. And so we've done that. And what you find out right away is, of course, how people perceive you, particularly when they talk around you while they're waiting in line and they don't know who you are. And so I heard lots of things. I heard good things. And people would look at me and sometimes do a second take. Are you? Yes, I am. I'm the city clerk. My goodness, what are you doing out here? I said, we're working, trying to keep the lines moving here. But people like that. People deserve that kind of attention. And so when the lines moved quickly, people would walk out with a smile on their face. And I'm talking about people who, in some cases, were procrastinators. I know none of you do that. None of you wait till the very last day to get your city sticker. But there are people who do that. And so sometimes people would say, if the lines were moving, they'd say, this is the city that works. Chicago, the city that works. And if the line wasn't moving at any particular time, sometimes during lunchtime it'd get a little longer, the same day, people will walk out and say, this place is terrible. This is awful. This is awful service. And I gently remind them, well, next year, try to get in a little earlier because we had periods here when the line wasn't existent and you could have moved quickly. But let me say that the office of the city clerk, as was mentioned here, is the most visited office in the city. And because it's the most visited office, its image is very important. We know that the office has a history, and we know that individuals who were in charge of the office going back many years got into trouble with ghost payrolling and a few other things, and then the most recent, my predecessor, had difficulties. But one thing I found when I got into the office was that the people who worked there, and when you talk about patronage and who's connected to what alderman and who comes from where, but the fact of the matter is what I found when I got to the office was a lot of hardworking, dedicated individuals. Putting aside possible political affiliations of the past, when patronage was ruled in the city of Chicago, these were good people. And I said to them from the very beginning, I said, please work with me to change the image of this office. And one thing I made clear was that I wasn't going to get rid of people for political reasons. I had a few Shackman exempt positions. I didn't let go of not one person in order to free up a Shackman exempt position so I could bring someone in. And yes, some people criticized me for that, but I felt it unfair to fire people strictly for political reasons. It's just wrong. It goes against my grain. And so we kept people on, and those folks are still on it. And what I found was that a lot of them had been trying for years to put forth ideas for modernizing the office, and were just not given the opportunity. And of course, the relationship between the mayor's office and the city clerk's office was a bit strained. That's putting it mildly. But we did that. And then I set out to, of course, from the very beginning, set an example. One of the first things I did was I got rid of, Judy, I got rid of the police detail security. I said, why does a city clerk need a police officer assigned? I mean, is someone going to get mad because they had to pay a late fee for a city sticker? And are you going to be, is your life going to be threatened because you didn't get a refund out in time? We got rid of the police detail. I got letters from police officers saying, I'd love to do the work. Please consider me. And now some of those police officers are, well, they're all back on duty, working in other areas. I also did something else that I said needed to be done in order to begin that process of changing the image. I said no campaign contributions from employees and no campaign contributions from city contractors. People said to me, you're killing yourself. How the hell are you going to be able to survive? I said, it has to be done. You've got to do away with that. Because, folks, we're all friends. I know a lot of folks here. You know how it works. If it's not perception, it's reality in terms of ties between expectations, campaign contributions, and what people expect of you. So I don't get a whole lot of phone calls, by the way, from people looking for stuff because they understand that it just cannot be done and it shouldn't be done. And that's not what I'm there for. So we've kept staff on. We've been at this for 19 months. We've changing the image of the office. It's the office that's most visited, generating approximately $100 million in annual revenue. Our core functions are to maintain the city council legislative records and administer approximately 1.3 million vehicle stickers and residential parking permits. Additionally, our office distributes business licenses, distributes dog registrations, kids and medical IDs. We provide assistance in partnership with the Tax Assistance Program for kids and parents filling out their federal free financial aid form every year so that they could qualify for assistance when they're going to college. We're a passport acceptance agency. A lot of people don't know that. And since taking office, I have implemented many new procedures and modernized operations to bring more efficiency to the office and public access to city council records. My goal is for the office to be the primary source of information for the legislative branch of government. You know, in Springfield, I was spoiled in Springfield with our legislative information system. You know, to be able to click and find a bill right away and download it and find the status of an amendment within hours of it being filed and get a roll call right away, find out who voted, when the roll call was taken. I was spoiled. I thought this is the way it is everywhere. And then I came to the city council and found that we didn't have a system in place. When I started, this is 19 months ago, half of the desks in our city council division, this is where we record the legislative process, half the desks had typewriters on them. And I know our city clerk from Park Ridge has to be thinking, what? What? We had people calling us from Houston wanting to know about our modernization effort. And when we explained to them what was going on, they said, oh, okay, maybe we'll call New York. Behind the times. I found an antiquated operation, to say the least. For decades, residents, reporters, and researchers had to crawl around the basement of City Hall to search for ordinances. Today, that has changed. As of this week, available now on our website, are journal proceedings, and these are the ordinances, these are the laws that the City Council produces. Journal proceedings going back to 1981. We've gone back to the Bolandic administration. It's all online now. Jane Byrne. But city budgets, Pablo Velde is our authority here. He wants me to call him Pablo Velde. But we have city budgets, Pablo, city budgets for 27 years and executive orders dating back to the Bolandic administration. There you go. Okay. Through a Google search engine, with the click of their mouse, the public can search through current and past city council legislation. By putting nearly 700,000 searchable pages online, we have brought unprecedented transparency to city government. That's our goal. Make it easy. Make it easy. In this day and age, you should be able to search for anything. You know, the old days of going everywhere, trying to find a piece of information, having to go to the library, those days are gone, long gone. We're promoting ourselves as a world-class city for the Olympics. The mayor has done a fabulous job as mayor. The city has grown, has improved tremendously. We are now presenting ourselves to the world as a world-class city when we make our arguments for the 2016 Olympics. Well, if we're going to have a world-class city presented, then we ought to have a world-class city government. And we have to have a world-class legislative branch of city government. And that will not happen if we don't have transparency in our wonderful democracy. Our website was also recently redesigned, making it easier to navigate and locate information. This young man sitting here, he didn't know I was going to single him out. Eric Alvarez. Eric Alvarez. We created a web author position because we said, this is the future. This is what we've got to do. If we're going to be the primary point of access for information on city government, on the legislative branch of city government, then we've got to have the tools in place. He is graduating or about to graduate from DeVry, came to us, and we hired him, and he redesigned this whole website. He's responsible for putting this together. A young man, Eric Albert. Please don't approach him afterwards. I don't want to lose him, not yet. You know, I believe in advancement, but we need a little more time with him because he's going places. Now, the public can go online and view council committee meeting notices, agendas, summary of meetings. Shortly after city council meetings, we post the actual text of all substantive proposed and passed matters. Mind you, this is already available in Springfield and a lot of places, but it wasn't available here. We highlight matters of substantive matters on our homepage after each council meeting as quickly as possible, so that if people hear and read Fran Spielman's article about an ordinance like, booting cars after 2 tickets, that's happening today. If people want to read about that, they want to see the ordinance, we should be able to have that ordinance online at the homepage, available for people right after the council meeting on Wednesday. Shortly after council meetings, we post these. The posting of proposed ordinances in the committee calendar provides the public with an opportunity to view agenda and then participate in committee meetings. We also stream city council meetings on our website, and for this, I take no credit. I know it's got some publicity because the city came on board so late, but it was Alderman Burke and Alderman Lorino who worked very hard just before I arrived to get that going, and I was fortunate to be there for the implementation of it. And I always give credit where credit is due. And so we're happy that now people can go to the Finance Committee website or the City Clerk's website and watch the City Council meetings live. We are now saving approximately 400,000 pieces of paper a year by simply changing the font. Isn't that exciting? We changed the font. We said, let's have some uniformity here. If you saw old journals, pick up old journals, the 4 volumes, this high, stacked up this high, that used to sit on Alderman's desk. You will find that you wondered how a lot of cutting and pasting. It was just all pasted together, and we're bringing some uniformity finally. And we've installed 2 computer kiosks at our office. Isn't that an exciting picture? That's in the basement where people can go, the public can go and look things up. The public should have immediate access to council information, as I said, as they do to the General Assembly. Currently, the council division relies heavily on manual processing of documents. We had a ton of overtime because all of this stuff was done manually. Nearly 3,000 documents are printed out on paper and filed at each council meeting. 3,000 documents. Our staff has to manually index, retype, file, and archive each document. Significant effort and overtime goes into doing this. We have already received partial funding, finally, for a legislative document management system. This automated system will allow for a completely automated workflow of legislative documents from introduction at the city council meetings to archiving after passage and approval. Once fully funded and implemented, the automated legislative document system will include web postings of all city council ordinances and resolutions as soon as they are introduced, increasing the public's ability to participate, advanced web search capabilities through an online document library, and eliminating the manual processing of documents, which will reduce overtime. We're trying to cut the cost to the taxpayers, and by the way, we did reduce the amount of staff last year. And by the way, this is exciting. I just gained approval to use a laptop on the council floor. Wait, come on, folks. Now, the tone is a bit sarcastic, and maybe you think I'm being facetious, but it's true. It is exciting. It's a major, major accomplishment. We will now put laptops for clerk's office employees so that we could process things quicker, electronically. We want to process things electronically to move things faster, and I hope to see the day when, just like in Springfield, each alderman has a laptop and we're able to click on immediately every time an ordinance comes up and the text comes up, because many times the aldermen say, I haven't read this and I would like information, and they should get it immediately so that they could be informed voters. In addition to our modernization efforts in the council division, we've made a number of improvements regarding the vehicle stickers. There are 2 primary functions of the city clerk's office. For those of you that are not familiar, the city council division, the keepers of the records, and the other one is the dreaded city sticker, the one everyone has to buy. We've made improvements in both areas. Now quickly on the city sticker, we've moved employees from the front office to positions of direct service. We've implemented an electronic cashiering system. We've sent emails to people to increase our online sales of city stickers and residential parking permits. We've increased the number of sale locations by 75. When I first took office, the city clerk's office had a manual system for processing vehicle stickers. 1.3 million stickers manually processed. Manually filed in numerical order. Microfiched 100 at a time so the machine would not jam. And when someone at our satellite office needed to know the status of an application because someone came in for a transfer, they'd have to call our office, and someone in the basement would sit in front of the microfiche machine and roll it. Microfilm. Folks, this is 19 months ago. Then the renewal forms were sent to a vendor to be key punched into a database, which took months. This manual system was fraught with errors. Residents' addresses could be typed incorrectly to the database. Processing of applications took longer, and looking up transaction records took for weeks. And that led to a lot of frustration on the part of people who didn't get their application, didn't get it on time, their renewal notices, their names were wrong. And people are touchy about these kinds of things because if you miss one digit on their driver's license number, on their driver's license plate, and they get it, they think, oh my God, I'm going to get a ticket. And so they want that fixed, and they want it fixed right away, and they should have it fixed. It won't lead to a ticket, but I'm not going to try to convince them otherwise. They want it fixed right away. And so this electronic system now that we secured funding for will allow for all customers' information to be immediately entered into our database, scanning driver's license to ensure the information is accurate with a scanner. Can you believe that? Verifies each transaction to ensure each customer is charged the correct amount, and provides best practices for reconciliation and balancing of cash drawers so we don't have any shortages. The new automated system eliminates the need for handwritten applications and microfiching. The new system has allowed us to offer residents new online services. We went from 130,000 stickers online to 200,000 this year. And now you can get your residential parking permit and guest passes online. Before that, you had to go to only 3 places, 2 satellite offices in downtown to get your permits, and some aldermen that were kind enough to sell them through their offices under our supervision, of course. For next year, our office is working to further increase efficiencies by having a print-on-demand sticker. This print-on-demand system would eliminate the separate residential parking permit stickers altogether and allow for print-on-demand of residential and city sticker. This is coming. We're going to eliminate one sticker and put it together, and then it'll make it easier to manage the residential parking zones. And by the way, we have 1,200 residential parking zones in the city of Chicago, and it all started by Northeastern Illinois University. I think it was in the 70s, Art Berman, because students were taking up the parking of the residents on those blocks. And by the way, I was one of those students. That's when it started. And so now I'm paying the price because residential parking zones are hard to administer. We have a vehicle sticker art contest also, and I just want to touch on this quickly because it's a wonderful thing. I think we can get to that slide. But before we do that, I want to back up and show you. I got to share this with you because you know that machine? I call it the dinosaur. It's a dinosaur. We use that currently to perforate a number, the zone number, on guest passes and residential parking. There's only one person who maintains these machines, has a monopoly. And I think only one person who makes them in the state of Illinois. I'm not sure that they're used in any other part of the country. And so we have these things, and they weigh a ton. I can't carry one. They're that heavy, and we have to use them to give you your guest passes. How many live in residential parking zones? You know what I'm talking about? Those little papers that you put on your windshield? Well, we're going to get rid of that. Just like we're getting rid of the machine that we used to make dog tags. We have a person. We have a couple people in our office who have one arm like this and the other arm skinny. As the customer waits, put the date on. Dog tags, metal dog tags. We're going to sticker dog. That's the machine for the dog tag. So I'm setting up this relics display, the relics of the city clerk's office, for everyone to come in and see. This is what used to be. What I won't tell them is that it was just a few months ago. All right? So I mentioned dog registrations. We're going through those. We're going to go from a metal tag to a sticker. We're getting the Cook County Rabies database, and we're going to mail a registration to everyone. And then we're going to put the sticker on the back of the rabies metal tag to eliminate one metal tag, because people tell me those doggies walk around jingling all the time with all the metal tags they have to use. So we're going to do that, and getting back to the art contest, this is an annual contest that we have to design the city sticker. The winner this year was Patsy Diaz, a senior at Jones Commercial. It used to be Jones Commercial. I'm dating myself, Art. Jones College Prep. And it's a beautiful design. Share the Road was our theme. We want people to understand that there are bicyclists out there, and we've got to watch out for them. And she used her little brother in that photograph to put into the design. And as a result of winning this contest, she told us that she's now going into graphics design in college. Isn't that beautiful? So having shared all that with you very quickly, and now you understand why I said I was going to share more detail than you'd like to have. But I think it's necessary for you to understand that we are moving forward. It is the second highest office in the city of Chicago. We take it seriously. We want people to have confidence in the operation. We want to treat people with courtesy. When we're taking people's money by way of an annual city sticker, I tell my staff, don't forget, you're taking their money. Treat them with courtesy. Treat them kindly. Don't act as if they're doing you a favor by coming over and buying a city sticker. And so that's the philosophy. That's the approach. And I want to also acknowledge one more person who's been the driving force behind our policy and program development, and that's Jay Rao. Where's Jay? There he is. Jay's about to graduate from law school, and we have a couple more people who we brought in who are about to finish up, or one other individual who's finishing up law school. I was fortunate to find young individuals. We have another young web author we hired, and that's what it's all about. And I don't mind Jay or Eric or anyone else for that matter coming through our office, giving all they have, and then moving on to bigger and better things, because we've got to get our young people into positions of leadership so that they could take over for us in the city of Chicago. And I want to just close with one more thing. I am not the type to just, sit down at a computer all day and deal with all these kinds of things, as important as they are. I'm also involved in other matters, and I'd just like to mention one thing. I'm on the board of the newly created, yet to be announced, formally announced, Advance Illinois Education Advocacy Organization, founded by the Joyce and the Gates Foundation. And we will be formally announcing in October. And the goal is to, in addition to having a world-class city, a world-class city council, a world-class city clerk's office, we also want Art Berman to have a world-class education system in the state of Illinois. And that's our goal. And so I am putting a lot of time into that effort. For those of you who are familiar with my background, the other day, I think it was the governor referred to Art Berman as the master, the mentor. He was a mentor of mine, and then referred to Emil Jones as the black Art Berman. Well, I'm the Hispanic Art Berman. He was my mentor also.
Boy, his mom was busy.
And so, even though I'm not in the legislature anymore, I continue my advocacy on education issues, because there's no other issue more important than that. So, having said that, I thank you. Thank you for your time.
on your sheets you have on your tables you have pieces of paper if you want to write a question. We have a couple here. First one is from Joy Saxon, board member. What is your personal opinion? No, I understand. No need to start off with an easy one. What is your personal opinion of the 2 unpaid, not 3 parking violations, otherwise known as Operation Denver Boot? Take it as much time as you like.
I do not get involved in city council matters. You know, it allows me to make a quick comment, though. When I say that, I'm serious. When I came in, there were people who thought that I'd end up getting into, because of my history, into, I don't want to use the word conflict, but into differences of opinion with actions of the city council or with the mayor. No, that's not my job. It's not my function. I will express my opinions privately, but never publicly when it comes to a city council matter, because I don't think it's the clerk's role. My job is to record what the city council does, not to try and influence. So I'll be glad to give you my opinion of that privately.
Little soft shoe, but we'll take it. You know, I just had my eyes done. We got to improve the penmanship. Tell us about the best-selling, top-selling dog guide.
There must be someone here from my task force. And we did have a slide with the dog guide, and it's a new dog guide that was produced by our dog task force, and it's become the best-selling, I won't say the best-selling because it's free, but the most distributed guide that we provide in our office. And we have 4 guides. You saw a slide earlier with 4 different guides: a community service guide, and a senior guide, street guide. And the street guide is popular because I call it the poor man's GPS. But this guide is surpassing because it's got a lot of great information on dogs in the city of Chicago. And as you know, Chicago is probably one of the most pet-friendly cities in the country. And so I thank our task force for the work that they've done.
Okay, this is a little bit off your, what the heck. Paul Frank, Federation of Independent Colleges. Do you think we should have a constitutional convention? Thank you for your leadership on school funding. This is going back to your Senate days.
There's a lot of frustration out there, and certainly I think that frustration has led to many calls for a constitutional convention. Some people think that it's the only way that we could change the school aid formula. I do not think that we ought to have a constitutional convention. When I weigh it, I think that there's much more opportunity for mischief, and who knows what roads will go down. And so I think that on the issue of school funding, the legislature and the governor have to do what the courts have said a couple of times they need to do, and that is assume full responsibility and through the legislative process change how we fund public education.
This question is from Bill Hood, American Airlines. What is the reaction among aldermen to the new transparency? Are they using the new system?
We're getting wonderful feedback. And let me say, we have many aldermen. I think by far most aldermen, and maybe I should say all aldermen, work very hard to represent their constituents. And they have hardworking staff. And it's at that level that we've gotten the most feedback. Staff who have said, thank you for promoting and developing a way of filing things electronically and eliminating this paper. And thank you for allowing us quick access to actions taken by the city council, because they get lots of calls from constituents and they want that quick action. So we've gotten very, very positive responses.
Last question. Dealing with, well, you may want to see this gentleman privately. Who have you contracted with to get all of your technology projects done? Who have you contracted to get all your technology projects done?
Well, we are, on the electronic cash sharing system, we're part of a project that includes the Department of Revenue. And so we'll be glad to, and Jay Rao is here, we'll give you the name of the companies we're working with. And on the document management system, we've also, I don't want to get into mentioning names, but we have that available for you. And we're in the process of, hopefully, after we get the funding that we need to complete the project, we will be selecting a company to do that for us as well.
How about a big round of applause? Miguel, as I said, we don't do hugs, we do mugs. There is an official. Listen, Louis gave me a kiss. I haven't recovered yet. A 1-year membership into the City Club of Chicago.
It's my first one.
Sooner or later, you're going to pay up. And a book by James Mariner on the history of the City Club. You can read about how this all started. And we are adjourned. Great job.